Hey guys, this is Cal LF with another episode of Mock Talks, and today I'm talking about Rogi and Bogi. Although technically you guys only requested Rogi, but that makes sense because these are technically two different versions of Rogi. So let me explain his backstory a little bit. This was the original version of the character, and I created him as sort of like a secondary self-mock of mine back when secondary self-mocks were kind of a thing. Pretty silly, like how many self-mocks do you need? But yeah, so he was sort of was in those terms. He was my crazy, insane, hyperspastic side, and he was like his backstory was something like he was Matoran, he's kind of like the Joker. He's like thrown in crazy acid or something and totally messed up. So yeah, and he goes crazy, and that's why he wears a top hat. Then what happens is I eventually updated him to give him sort of a taller look, but I didn't want to keep his color scheme the same. Like I made up that he was infected even more or something. So that's where this version came in, or at least that's where this version came in color scheme wise. He was a bit taller and bigger, and I sort of made him more for like action stuff because he's taller than your standard Toa Mata per se. But eventually I came up with sort of a relationship because he's kind of a weird mad scientist. So he was in my story he was experimenting with Bitil's mask, which allows you to duplicate past versions of yourself. And he had like some kind of weird experiment that backfired and created a permanent clone of this previous version of himself. And for because that other previous version of himself was crazy, he adopted the idea that he was Rogi's son and called himself Bogi. And so that's where the two fit together in my old story ideas. I have no idea how he cloned himself a new hat. I guess he probably just made himself one. But yeah, so that doesn't make any sense. Also, Bionicles with hats is pretty silly, so I don't know why these characters were even in my main story, but whatever. Then, when I moved on to Callan and Davix, I decided to make, actually in my other Bioshort videos, these two were the same models as they were in my main stories, but they had kind of an actual father and son relationship. It was kind of consistent with the story, except he's like all sweetsy, and Dad, I love you, and he's like, get away from me, you stupid kid, I hate you. And I voiced both of them in Bioshorts, and did my cutesy voice and my angry, grumpy, Weird Al voice for Rogi. And yeah, so that went on for a little bit. I had Rogi get killed sometimes as like a funny thing, like, oh no, Dad, don't kill my dad, ah! Even though he's like, it's sort of like the Harley Quinn Joker relationship in that he is devoted to his love. He's devoted and loving to his father, and his father wants nothing to do with him, except that, I don't know, it's not exactly the same, but you get it. Next, then I did Callan and Davix, and I decided to shrink this guy down and give them both the same design because Bogi did not appear in Callan and Davix, but Rogi did in this form, and Rogi was their landlord in Callan and Davix, and he was pretty stupid. He was voiced by my friend Jacob Preston, and yeah, that was one thing. He had sort of a I did a stupid thing with the first episode. Oh, I'm just gonna give you this mask for the house. You can have the house. It's ridiculous, stupid. I hate it. But yeah, I didn't do much with him. Although I did have plans for him, and I was gonna have Bogi pop up. Although in Callan and Davix, he was gonna be more of a cousin character, and he was gonna be voiced by an acting student friend of mine named Tim. I can't even remember his last name now, but yeah. I actually got both their lines for this episode that I wrote and came up with, but I never made it because I actually accidentally lost the script somewhere along the line after I got their lines. So I have their lines, and I could reconstruct the script based off their lines, but one, I'm not doing Callan and Davix anymore, and two, I don't even know where their files are anymore. So even if I still have them, they're somewhere stuck in my computer, and I do not really want to go digging them up. Also, three, I never filmed anything from that episode, so I don't know. It's not really feels like something worth my time. I'd sooner try and piece together filmed stuff from all of Mata episodes that never came together than try and make something with these two, unfortunately. But yeah, so that's pretty much it historically. Let's talk a little bit about their designs. Their designs are exactly the same in this version, and honestly, his bigger version was not that interesting anyway. But let's talk about um, actually like there's some people back in the day. I'm not sure if people have gotten smarter or not, but people did not understand how his torso works. Let me explain it to you. These are teeth. They're kind of like the gears have like kind of a teeth look, like kind of like what stuff they did in the Bionicle movie, like say with Taraga Vakama, where it's like it's not an actual mouth, but it sort of looks kind of like a mouthy mustache type thingy. The blue, those are eyes, and these are eyebrows. Here's he can look angry, he can look casual, he can look sad. They're sort of just expressive, even though it looks kind of bad. And then this is a hat. This is a hat he wears. As I previously mentioned, it's a hat. Although it takes away a gap in the middle of his head, which is kind of ugly. But yeah, it's still his hat. And some people actually thought that the hat was like a head and that the blue on him was boobs or something. And I'm like, what the heck? People, I did not get that at all. Hopefully you can see what I mean, even though the gear thing looks kind of weird. I tried to just make kind of a weird face, and hopefully that comes clearer now than it did back in the day. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Here's a comparison with Callan. And thank you very much for watching this Mock Talks. Next episode, I'll probably show some other mocks that I have that I can review. I should have done that today, but I didn't. I'm sorry. So if there are any other suggestions, Taraga Vakama's one that I've seen pop up that I haven't done yet. There are some others, Tahu Uniter Fire. So yeah, there are other things to do. So thanks for watching. Please vote for what next to do in the comments. And I will see you guys another... Oh, wait. No, I did. Did I do Tahu Uniter? Whatever. Doesn't matter. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.